Hey everyone, just want to continue our study of the book of John today. And so now we are actually on John chapter 5. So we got a story for you today, and we'll talk a little bit about its significance. So chapter 5 verse 1 says, "After this there was a feast of the Jews, and Jesus went up to Jerusalem. Now there is in Jerusalem by the sheep gate a pool, in Aramaic called Bethesda, which has 5 roofed colonnades. In these lay a multitude of invalids, lame, blind, and paralyzed. One man was there who had been an invalid for 38 years. When Jesus saw him lying there and knew that he had already been there a long time, he said to him, 'Do you want to be healed?' The sick man answered him, 'Sir, I have no one to put me into the pool when the water is stirred up, and while I am going, another steps down before me.' Jesus said to him, 'Get up, take up your bed, and walk.' And at once the man was healed, and he took up his bed and walked. Now that day was the Sabbath. So the Jews said to the man who had been healed, 'It is a Sabbath, and it is not lawful for you to take up your bed.' But he answered them, 'The man who healed me, the man who said to me, Take up your bed and walk.' They asked him, 'Who is the man who said to you, Take up your bed and walk?' Now the man who had been healed did not know who it was, for Jesus had withdrawn, as there was a crowd in that place. Afterward, Jesus found him in the temple and said to him, 'See, you are well. Sin no more, that nothing worse may happen to you.' The man went away and told the Jews that it was Jesus who had healed him. And this was why the Jews were persecuting Jesus, because he was doing these things on the Sabbath. But Jesus answered them, 'My Father is working until now, and I am working.'" So this is kind of an interesting story where it starts off with a guy who wants to be healed, and he's at this pool that's known for having kind of the power to heal people, but he's paralyzed, so he can't actually go into the pool, and no one's helping him out. So someone else gets healed instead. Well, Jesus comes along and just tells the man just to get up on his own and walk, and he does. He's healed completely. But instead of that being something to celebrate in the minds of everyone else who's around, these religious leaders actually see that maybe as a threat because it's the Sabbath day. And so they see this person doing something they're not supposed to do. And so instead of celebrating the miracle and the power of Jesus, they start to be angry with Jesus and to be persecuting Jesus because they're looking at him as someone advocating like immorality basically in their minds. And that's kind of interesting because it is true that the Old Testament gives the rule that we're supposed to honor the Sabbath and keep it holy, which means not working on the Sabbath. But they specifically felt like, okay, you can't pick up the mat that you were on. So that's kind of like a new addition in some ways to that. But it seems like a logical extension of some of the things that the Bible talks about with resting on the Sabbath. At least it seemed natural to them. So my question that I think we should be asking is, why is it okay for this man to pick up his bed and walk? I mean, obviously it's okay because Jesus says it, but why is it okay? And then the second question is, maybe what does it look like for us to honor the Sabbath now? If Jesus is able to tell that man, hey, you can pick up your mat and walk. What does that look like for us right now, especially in this kind of weird time of coronavirus? It's kind of easy to slip into working all the time or not taking a real Sabbath because every day feels like it's the same, and every day feels kind of lazy potentially too. But I think it's still important for us to have a day of rest and refocusing on God. So my encouragement to you guys is to think about both of those questions and to think about what kind of a person must Jesus be if he's able to tell you, hey, do this, and it doesn't matter what else is being said or being done. So anyway, or being said or being done in terms of the Sabbath laws. What does that say about the identity of Jesus? So anyway, hopefully that's helpful to you guys and encouraging, and I will see you guys tomorrow.